All right, I'm looking at some frame data, and I'm not quite certain how to do pressure with Karen right now, considering the plus frames on our buttons. This is +1 on block, which is good, and it's got some crazy range to it, which is really good. This is +2, and you of course can do this. This will trade with 3 frame buttons. Anything that's slower than the 3 frames, this will beat out. Right, you can do some sort of like thing. If I could do that more consistently. Yeah, it is special cancelable, so. So one way you can test to see how your frame traps work is to go to the dummy settings and record guard and wake up actions. In this case, we're using guard. But you want to make sure that the reversal comes out as it should there. And then just set this to that. And now Guile will do his 3 frame jab. And you can kind of see what happens here. So I think before, when he wasn't blocking this, or when he's not pressing a button, this actually whiffs. Weirdly enough. Does she just move forward when she does it? Oh, she does. Alright. But if he presses a button, like he will now, this always connects. And it's a counter hit. Which means you have 6 frames to do whatever you want. So standing medium kick is 8 frames, so it doesn't connect, although that is another frame trap. But you can do your usual combos after that. You can do that as well. That's +8, as you can see at the top here. So if I go for that, I can actually combo into that medium kick or whatever else. But if I go for slower stuff, it's going to trade. Assuming I did it, the timing correctly. Now 3 frame normals are the fastest normals. You're not going to see any 2 frame normals. The only things that could be faster, I actually don't even know if there's any special moves that are faster in this game. So that's one way you can test your stuff. You can also record wake up actions to make sure that your strings are working correctly. So you can test things like what to do after a throw. You don't exactly get a lot of follow-ups from forward throw, but you can kind of try to see what you can do after throws in the corner. He's going to do a jab on wake up, so if your opponent likes to press buttons, it seems like you can just kind of buffer a medium punch and you'll get him, as long as you time it properly. As long as you time it properly. Of course, this is what takes practice, right? I went for medium punch. He just punches me in the face. Go for sweep. It crush counters. You just have to time it. You can't mash it. You actually have to time the medium punch properly to get this. So I do this all the time with Guile. Just go into training mode. I'm watching a stream, and I'm just hitting this in the background over and over again. Or in this case, not hitting it at all. I think I'm doing it too late. Right. So that's one thing you can do to test that. Is just set it this way and then just practice doing your strings and see what you can blow up and how often. And just make sure everything's tight. Or else your opponent is just going to mash jab all the time and stop your aggression constantly, which is just no fun. You can also use this to test your frame traps, which is when you leave just enough of a gap so if they do press a button, they get blown up for it, right? Like this. This is a frame trap. And once your opponent knows that you're got those frame traps, then they're going to hold still and you can get those grabs. This will also show you when you screw up your combos because you'll get punched in the face. Right. Let's see, what else were we going to look at? Whoa. You can set the computer to do this and just practice your bread and butter combos over and over again. And then when you get the combo, you can figure out what you do from there, right? Because he's going to jab on wake up. So it's a good place to be to just kind of have your default assume that they're going to do something on wake up and then be able to adjust from there. I already showed corner loops, like what you can do after throwing someone in a corner or landing a combo in the corner. And you can see at the top how many frames you have, right? So if Karen does her back throw right here, you have +2 frames, meaning you can't go for a heavy punch or you're just going to get punched in the face. But you could go for like a light kick probably. But then the timing's pretty tight. This one's tough because of the spacing. That worked. If it says counter hit, that means it worked. If you hit them after the fact, that means you didn't frame trap them, you just punished their jab, which is not bad, but it's not exactly what you want to be practicing right now. You want to practice things like how to deal with jump-ins. So you can set the computer to do CPU stuff and then, you know, just switch it from dummy to CPU. And anti-air. Just play your neutral game. I usually do like a very simple neutral game, and then you just try to go for your punishes whenever possible. I was just looking to do that. It's this button, right? No, it's the other one. All right. You can adjust the CPU difficulty as needed. Oh, my game is slowing down. I definitely did this a lot as Guile. Is just get better at reacting to jump-ins. Doing some simple buttons. And then trying to anti-air, right? You can't anti-air at that range, at least if you react that slowly. You can do something like that. And then once you get the anti-air, you know, get the timing for your grab, right? He's not going to necessarily do a button on wake up because it's CPU, but oops. But it's worth testing out your ability to land a button right on their wake up, which is called a meaty. Right, she can't anti-air at that distance, which means you probably need to do one of these buttons or this button. It's right at this distance. Oh, we did a fast jump. Oh, we did a fast one. Maybe at this distance is a good anti-air one with the EX. Of course, you don't really want to be wasting your meter. So maybe you just want to use a button. And then you can kind of get used to getting your pressure off of the air reset. Or whatever it is that you do. Dang, that sweep is amazing. Or you can practice getting that spacing right for sweeps. Practice two things at once. Am I going to anti-air? Am I going to sweep? No, I was looking for the sweep and he jumped. Dang, I keep rolling the quarter circle when I'm doing this. You want to practice moving as much as possible. Keeps your hands moving, and it baits moves, right? If I move right inside Guile's sweep range and then move right out of it, this is like Karen's A game. And then you're hoping that you'll be able to counter sweep him or hit him for throwing out that button at that range. And if you're doing this, there's a good chance if he goes for a sweep that you'll block it, and you get a punish. Of course, it's a CPU, so. I think you already have practiced this quite a bit, but practicing things like what your combos are from various ranges, right? If you get knockdown pressure, what's your combo from here? What's your combo if you land a hit out here? Do you have any combos from anti-airs? She has like a target combo in the air, doesn't she? What can you do off of that? She doesn't have an air throw. Seems like you already know things like what your combos are super far. So various combo ranges. Of course, Karen's ideal range is like right here. These amazing buttons. Knowing what your crush counters are, right? You can practice this by setting counter to on and then fending your combos. It's even better to set it to random and then just every time you get a crush counter, convert the combo. And when you don't convert the combo. So you'll kind of get used to reacting to that huge crush counter sound and getting your full combo. Because that's a lot of damage you leave on the table if you screw up your combo and don't get it, right? You'll know you'll get a combo. See, I didn't get it there. You'll know if the counter goes up to 2 after dashing in. I was actually just practicing this with Guile the other day. Maybe you have a different button that crush counters. Looks like you probably don't. Just those two. You'll have to do some research on what these combos actually are. What are the odds? I'm trying to do this. I'm bad at it. See, that didn't even combo? Wow. That comboed. Right? Just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Focus on one thing every time you go into the training lab, and you'll see improvement. So even if you focus on just one thing, it's actually really good to focus on one thing, because then you can see the improvement over the next day. You know, go back into the training mode the next day, try it again. I guarantee you'll see that you've been improving at that thing, and that kind of gives you momentum to get to the next thing. I mentioned walking around. If you sit a lot, it makes it gives your opponent a lot of time to kind of get the exact spacing that they want. And they know that, you know, if you're at this range as Karen, you're not going to feel very threatened, right? Nothing that I have hits. And so if you're just sitting and you're frozen, I'm going to find the spacing that I want immediately. But if you're in and out and in and out, when am I going to feel safe? When at any time you could come in there and hit me. And also by doing this, you know, in range, out of range, in range, out of range. And as soon as you are in range and then move out and I whiff a button, you know, you kill me for it. It's like the biggest thing that Karen can be doing. Yes, my controller just disconnected. Hooray. Karen has kind of a simple game plan, but it's not simple to execute her game plan, which is bullying someone in this range. And then once she gets that one hit, to just go ham on them. Definitely easier said than done, but a very good character to kind of learn Street Fighter fundamentals of footsies and combos. So that's good. That's a lot of like technical advice that I would give. The other advice that I would give for you in particular would be kind of more like game sense stuff, like the flow of a match and understanding how moves work in terms of how they affect you, right? If you're getting shut down from being able to take a certain action, like say someone's really bullying you out of the range of this move, and that's really frustrating you because you're like, I can't do the thing that my character does. You have to understand that assuming that the matchup isn't total ass, which I don't think Karen has any matchups like that, they're doing something in particular to try to keep you from doing your strength, and they are showing a weakness in another way that you may not see by doing that, right? Like one thing that I do against Karen a lot, if she's trying to bully into this range, is sweep. Right outside of the range of this, sweep, sweep, sweep. If you're standing and walking a lot, you're going to get swept. But it is a huge commit from Guile. It's very unsafe. Usually you can get a big punish afterwards, or at least sweep him back. Unless I have V-trigger. But even then, I only get that once. So, typically. So, if something is frustrating you, it means that your opponent has noticed a weakness of yours that you're not compensating for. So just try to see it and go, okay, what weakness does getting hit by this move show in my game plan? How do I adjust to this change? Because everything in Street Fighter is able to be adjusted around. Like pretty much everything. If someone is spamming a move, not a term that I like to use, but it means that move is working against you. Because Street Fighter is very simple. If something works against you, there's probably a way to counter it. Because the game is pretty balanced. And then I mentioned before, whenever you go into training mode, just setting a goal for yourself, right? Last time I played as Guile, I was just trying to get my anti-airs. Air grabs, crouching heavy punches, standing medium kicks, all good anti-airs from Guile. That's all I was looking at. When I play later today, I'm going to be watching my meter because I'm not very good at noticing when I have full meter. So I'm going to try to practice just seeing the meter go and keeping an eye on it. I'm probably going to be a little distracted. I'm probably not going to play as well as I could. That's fine. That's part of the practice, you know. Just need to set a new goal each time and execute on it. And then you'll see that progress, and that'll give you a lot of momentum to keep practicing, keep improving, because that's the fun of a game like this. It's one of the things I like about Street Fighter is it's kind of simple to see where things that you can improve. That's kind of a thing about games in general. So, yeah. And I'll give you some Guile tips next time I see you, which is probably going to be later today. Pretty dope. Okay, I can't do that combo. I have no interest in picking this character up. She is too difficult, man.